Middle linebacker. It's one of the more legendary positions in all of college football. If you're a high school football player and you want to play middle linebacker in college, today we're going to tell you the 5 things you're going to need to show on your highlight video.
Hey, I'm talking to you. Recruiting advice for everyone. It's the Gridiron Stud Show.
Well, aside from the height and weight and all that good stuff you're going to need to really hold things down in the middle of the defense, we're not talking about that today. We're talking about the skills that you're going to need to display. Your height and weight and some of those things. Well, your height, you can't really control too much, but your size, I think those things come as a given. If you've followed me at all on this page and watched any of the many videos that I've put out there, hey guys, you're going to have to hit the weight room and you're going to have to look a certain way to play college football. You may want that to be different. You may want them to just look at the plays that you make on the high school football field. But I'm here to stress to you again, high school football is not college football. There have been many a guy who's dominated at various positions at the high school level and have not been able to cut it at the college football level. Football's different. It's the same game, but it's different. Okay, the high school football is, all over the country, and sometimes the competition where you're playing or the different factors that surround you at your high school are not going to be conducive to you being successful at the college football level if you don't have certain skills that are necessary for the particular position that you're playing. So today we're talking about middle linebacker and the things that you are going to need to show on your highlight video that's going to really attract the attention of college football coaches that are out there looking for the next inside linebacker that's going to handle things on their defense and stop the offense from going up and down the football field. The number one thing you're going to need to show, though, is that you're a big tackler. And I'm putting an emphasis on big tackler. I didn't say just a tackler. I mean a big tackler. A middle linebacker sets the tone for what's going to happen on that defense. So you can't have a drag down tackler or a guy who's spinning guys around to make tackles. A middle linebacker is tough. A middle linebacker is a guy that's really supposed to go in there and lay the leather and the lumber to a guy. So when you and that running back meets up in the hole, it can't be a spin down tackle. It's got to be you putting your pads on that guy and really blowing him backwards or at least stopping him in his tracks. If you've got tackles like that on your highlight video or you've got tackles like that in your library of clips from games, you're definitely going to want to lead off with something like that. Now, of course, I always say put your best play, but somewhere in there, hopefully, it's you meeting a running back somewhere in that tackle box or somewhere off tackle, and you laid the lumber to him, and you either picked him up or you knocked him backwards and you put a really good hit on him. If your middle linebacker's tackling well, then you've got a strong chance that the rest of your defense are good tacklers. That middle linebacker is not a good tackler, and they decided to put him at middle linebacker, doesn't really set the tone for the rest of the guys on the defense. So, got to be a tone setter as a middle linebacker. You've got to be a guy that goes in there, gets in the gaps, or gets a tackle, and puts his pads on someone. So if you've got some really good tackles and you're trying to be an inside linebacker at the next level and you want to attract college football coaches, definitely put some hard hits, some good tackles, some good form tackles in there because the best tackler on the defense should be the middle linebacker. Second thing you're going to need to show is football IQ. By and large, that middle linebacker should be the smartest guy on defense. Everyone knows about the Ray Lewises and the Mike Singletaries of the world and the Brian Urlachers and all of the other guys that are in the middle of that defense, and they're the ones that are usually making the calls that are coming from the sidelines. They're calling it out in the huddle, and then when everyone lines up, they're the guys calling out the plays, the splits, the people you need to know. A middle linebacker should be the smartest guy on the defense. Won't always be, but should be. If he's not the smartest, he should be the second smartest guy on the defense. So anything that shows you on film that you're a guy that's smart, that knows what's going on, he's pointing things out, you're making certain calls when there's a motion, there's a shift, and you're communicating with the rest of your unit. Things like that you're going to need to show on your highlight video because it shows that you're a guy with some intelligence that can run the show, because as much as that college coach would like to, he can't go out on the field anymore. He'd love to be out there in the middle getting things set up exactly the way that he knows they should because he studies the game. He's going to need a guy just like him out on the field, making those calls, getting everyone set up, and making sure that the defense is ready for whatever play is coming. The more you can show that you can do that, the more at ease and the more attractive you're going to be to that college coach, because he knows if you ever end up being on the field and playing for them, you're the one that's going to have to run the show on the field. So anything with your intelligence and pointing things out and communicating with the rest of your unit, don't cut those things out of your clip. So if there's some of that going on pre-snap, I wouldn't cut that out just to show right when the ball was snapped and you going and making a play. I would include some of that in some of your clips as you put together your middle linebacker highlight video. All right, on to number 3. But before we do that, make sure you guys like and share this video, and more importantly, subscribe and hit the bell so that you're notified the next time I put out a video like this one that's giving you recruiting tips, or even talking about defensive back play or prospect breakdowns. We've got a lot of great stuff going on this channel. So to make sure you're up to date on all of the latest videos put out, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell. But let's talk about what number 3 is. All right, we already have you as a big hitter, laying the lumber. Number 2, taking on all of the communication responsibilities, so you got to show your football IQ. But number 3 is something that you're going to take on every play, and that is blocks. Show your ability to take on blocks. If you can't get off of blocks, you can't take on blocks, shed a block, and get to the ball carrier. That's the essence of the position. So clips where you're showing that. It's great to run right through the gap and blow a guy up. And if you have plays like this, certainly you want to put those on your highlight video. But that college coach knows it's not going to be all sunshine and roses when you're playing the game for them at their level. So anytime you can show yourself getting into a blocker, shedding him, getting rid of him, and getting to the ball carrier, that's a plus for you. That shows a college football skill. Sometimes a guy's playing in a league or for a team that's just so superior to everyone that they play that he's just really running through gaps all the time. And that would make me a little nervous as a coach, and I know it would make a college coach nervous that you've never really faced any resistance in running around and making those plays. So if you have plays like that in your library, and maybe in the clip you didn't stop the guy for a loss, or you didn't stop him right at the line of scrimmage, maybe the play was made a little further downfield, 5, maybe even 10 yards, but you had to get off of a block and you did a pretty good job of doing that on your way there. Don't cut those out. It is a plus for you, because college coaches know that you're going to have guys coming at you and taking on and trying to block you. Those linemen are going to try to get out to the second level. It's a big part of what goes on with all of these zone schemes. And if you can show yourself flowing to the football, getting your hands on a blocker and shedding him with some skill and getting to the ball carrier, that's going to be a plus for you. Make sure you include that in your highlight video. So taking on blocks and being able to make a play is number 3 that you're going to need to show on your highlight video. All right, speaking of getting to the football, that's going to lead us to number 4. You're definitely going to want to show your ability to pursue to the football. So pursuit is a big thing for linebackers, especially middle linebackers, because you're right there in the middle of that defense. Showing your ability to run from sideline to sideline and make plays is definitely going to be a plus for you. It's something that's so attractive on film when you've got a guy in the middle that can see the play happening, beat blockers to the ball, and get out there and make plays from not just within the tackle box. Okay, we can get anyone to do that. Make plays from the numbers to the numbers, from sideline to sideline. And if you've watched any amount of football, you've heard an announcer say that about a good linebacker. He makes plays from sideline to sideline. That's what you want to be able to show. So if you have clips like that in your library, definitely include them in your highlight video. Your ability to be able to see a play and make tackles from sideline to sideline. Also, when we're talking about pursuit, sometimes the ball's thrown down the field and it's beyond where your drop was, or it wasn't to your man if you happen to be covering man-to-man as a middle linebacker. Showing your ability to get off of your assignment after the ball has been thrown and go pursue a player downfield and have the motor to do that is going to also be a plus. You definitely want to show your energy, your juice, your fire, and your ability and your motor and wanting to get to the football all the time. It should be a sense of pride for you as a linebacker to have the most tackles every game, to be first on the scene every time. That was a big part of Ray Lewis's game. He would challenge the rest of his guys on defense to beat him to the football, and he would make sure that he's winning that race 9 times out of 10. So that should be your attitude. You should not be breaking down and on your way to the football. If that ball is thrown 50, 60 yards downfield and you happen to be 10 yards deep on your drop, turn around, go run, get those kind of plays on film. You should be doing that anyway, because if your middle linebacker has made a strong effort to get to the football each and every time, then if your defense is about anything and you've got guys there with any amount of competitive spirit, they're going to want to get there too, and your whole defensive unit is going to play better. And if that whole defensive unit is playing good, it's going to shine a good light on you as the middle linebacker. So you're going to want to show your pursuit to the football as number 4 on your highlight video. Number 5 is your ability to blitz. Blitzing is an art. Not everyone could do it. Everyone wants to do it when they play linebacker, but not everyone knows the art of blitzing. And a big part of that is being able to anticipate the snap count, being able to hit your gaps, and then also get off of some of the blocks that are going to come your way. If you're blitzing in that A gap, know that that center and guard are going to try to get at you. Are you skilled in getting by those guys and getting to the quarterback or getting into the backfield and tackling that running back for a loss? You're definitely going to want to show that on your highlight video. On pass plays, sometimes that running back's going to try to step up in there and block. Can you get through that gap as quickly as possible? Can you run through or around or get rid of that running back and make your play and get that sack? You're definitely going to want to show that. But one of the best things you can show on your highlight video when it comes to blitzing is showing your ability to anticipate the snap. That is it's a skill that not many guys have, and if you do have it, definitely not something that you want to hide. Usually it comes from someone having a pretty good football IQ. They study a good amount of film and they've picked up something on how and when that ball is snapped. And they have been able to not only see it, anticipate it, but also execute on it. So the more you can show those kind of clips, the more exciting that's going to be for a college coach that's out looking for his next middle linebacker or inside linebacker, depending on what the scheme is. But you definitely want to show your ability to time up blitzes, get rid of blockers, and make tackles for losses, sacks, etc. Because those really are the big plays that happen within a football game. And usually that's going to be a middle linebacker when you're talking about coming up the middle of the middle of the offense and disrupting some plays. Also, sometimes your middle linebacker has to go around the edge and come. So any blitzing situation where you showed some good timing and ability to get off of blocks is going to be great for you, because that's what college football coaches are out there looking for. So be sure to show your ability to blitz well. All right, and there you have it. It's not all about being big and strong as a middle linebacker. Definitely a plus, but you are going to have certain skills, and we talked about those today. So just to review, got to be a big tackler. You got to have a football IQ. You got to be able to take on blocks. You got to be a guy that pursues, okay? You can't have a lazy middle linebacker. Just not going to work. Not in high school, definitely not going to work in college. And then number 5, you're definitely going to want to be a guy that knows how to blitz. That's the fun that comes in for middle linebackers. So make sure you include those things within that first minute or 2 minutes of your highlight video. Make sure you have some kind of element of those 5 things. If you are young in this game and one of those things are your weakness, one or more of those things are your weakness, well, now you know what you need to work on for the rest of this season and in the off season. You're going to want to develop those 5 areas. Get those kind of clips in your library and include them on your highlight video so that you can attract college coaches, because that's definitely what they're looking for when they're out trying to find their next middle or inside linebacker. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this. Again, don't forget to subscribe. And if you're a baller that has some great middle linebacker tape, or you've got a great highlight video from any position that you play, you must download the Gridiron Studs app. It's going to allow you to create a recruiting profile where fans and college coaches can find you from all over the country. Definitely going to boost your exposure. I'm going to include a link to the Gridiron Studs app in the description down below. Make sure you click on that and you go find yourself on our app. We're approaching 14,000 prospects on that app. You definitely need to be on there. All high school football players watching this right now definitely need to be on the Gridiron Studs app. So again, I'm going to include a link in the description. Click on it, choose your platform, whether you're Team Android or you're in the Apple family. Go ahead and download it, create your profile, and get your exposure going right now. All right? Thank you guys for watching, and until next time, Gridiron Studs, BC.